Welcome to the first episode of Whistle the Feast. My name is Jason Jaspersen here on the campus of Bethany Lutheran College, and I'm joined by Norah Kratz, and we just recorded a beautiful session with Lars Johnson, Angie Johnson, and Joey Pasbrig. Norah, what can listeners look forward to in this episode?
I think that they can look forward to a very in-depth discussion on the act of creation from a lot of different fields. So you've got painters talking about it, you've got filmmakers talking about a filmmaker, just Joey, talking about it, and you've got writers talking about it. So it's a collective exploration of creativity and risk from the people who do it regularly and who teach it.
Our conversation hovers around a quote by Paul Burmeister, who is a professor and painter and administrator in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, at Wisconsin Lutheran College. He said, "The vocation of the artist is to be in the studio." We consider that from a lot of different angles. And so this episode will drop you right in the middle of the conversation.
Yeah. Right
Enjoy.
there. We don't have to be like, everyone stays silent until the end. Because, I don't know, sometimes you're struck with inspiration. You're like, oh, like, you can, that's okay. It's no big deal. Use your intuition. So, are you reading something right now? I was going to ask them what they're reading right now, because I know that they're reading something right now. But are you reading anything?
Yeah, but I mean, I started probably like a year ago, and that's what I'm so bad at sticking to things, yeah. Technically, I have like a chapter left of the film director's intuition. Are we recording?
That's it.
Okay.
That sounds familiar. Who's that by?
We just talked.
Judith Wetson.
Okay.
I think she only has two books. There's film director's intuition and directing actors, which is kind of just another version of the same book, but with different perspective.
That's crazy that you say you don't. Would you say you don't really stick to things very well?
Not reading. Well, it's so easy when I love what I'm reading, and then it's like, okay, I haven't read that in a couple days, and I know I'll love it, but it'd be so much easier to do something else right now.
Yeah.
Just realized I was
That's
wearing
just
headphones.
so interesting because whenever you talk about your scripts, I always want to ask you about, like, because you're like, yep, me and Ari and I are writing right now, and you finish it in like 3 weeks.
Not usually.
You write it.
This is an exceptionally fast script. It took us 2 years to write Clocked.
That's crazy.
This one, I don't know when we actually started the breakdown. I think it was like, because I told you about it. It was like April or something.
Yeah.
But I mean, the writing, by the time we're actually writing, we've pretty much already written it. We're just like turning it into text and then getting a bunch of feedback. So we've already done processes before that.
How long was the script for Clocked?
Like how many pages?
Yeah.
128, which is 8 more than it should be.
So 120 is the sort of the standard, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because at that point, it's 2 hours, give or take the thicker scenes and the thinner scenes. And usually it's pretty on point. But
they have that down. That's like, if it's 120 pages, it'll be about 2 hours.
Yeah.
Like a minute per page.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Wow.
And the only reason I know that is because Taylor Teisty, do you know Taylor?
Yeah.
So she's thinking about doing a screenplay for her senior thesis, and she's finishing up her lit review now, and so that's why I thought that book sounded familiar, because she's looking at a number of books on craft and screenwriting versus other kinds of writing and so on. And anyway, the 120-page limit, right, for a screenplay was mentioned. So how important is the reading to you, though? Like, so you're currently reading a book that's about the craft of filmmaking or screenwriting.
Yeah.
How important is that in connection to, I guess, the creative process? Are you reading a lot of screenplays as sort of models as well as books on craft, or does it sort of come and go?
I'm actually really bad at reading screenplays and watching movies.
Yeah.
Like it's I don't like watching movies for the most part. Like I hate sitting down because it's like, well, there's 2 hours on the couch that I'm not getting back, which is so weird because it's like I know that I want to make it and I want other people to want to watch my movies, but it is so hard for me to put in the effort to like sit down and watch stuff that feels unproductive, even though it's not. And if it doesn't feel unproductive, it feels like work.
Would you listen to a movie, like a podcast, and do other stuff?
You gotta see it though, don't you?
Yeah, I feel like that's the point.
No, you gotta see it. But I'll listen to like podcasts and stuff, but usually that's like secondary to something else. Right. Like if I'm going on a hike, I'll have an audiobook or a podcast, but even then I'm not fully paying attention. Angie is next to me. Well, you were telling me about a book that you had listened to and then assigned, but didn't know certain details of the book because you were just listening and you're doing other stuff too. And that happens to me when I'm listening to books or podcasts while doing other things.
That's so interesting. How do you like feel like you learn your craft then? Because I feel like for me, for writing, like 100% the only way I feel like I become a better writer is by doing it, and also a lot by reading and reading other people's stuff and trying to copy other people's stuff and being like, okay, they try to do this, maybe I should. So like, how do you learn how to be a better movie person?
I mean, you did just say by doing it.
Yeah.
But also, I think I probably watch movies about as much as the average person watches movies.
That's true.
Not as much as how much a filmmaker watches movies.
That might be the difference between painting and going to a museum.
Yeah. I'm not a big museum fan, which checks out.
You should be.
I should be.
Yeah.
I've tried. I put the effort in.
We should go together.
Yeah.
Well, when you do watch the movies, I'm wondering if you watch them differently, typically, than most people would watch them.
I think so. And I'm okay with that. But the thing for me, it's like I really like watching movies with other filmmakers in kind of with a different intention. Like sometimes Ari and I will watch movies together, and we will pick it apart, but not in not in a film analysis way, but in a how can we apply that way, or how do they do that, and how is that useful?
Yeah.
And is that fun or is that work?
It's fun and work. It's like making a movie.
Yeah.
Where it's not. I mean, it's effort, but it's worthwhile effort. That's fun.
Yeah.
But that's the same thing that Norah does when she was talking about imitation.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, that's
we
true.
Imitate to learn.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is our theme for episode 1 of this podcast, which in episode 0, which you will not hear. Maybe someday. Maybe someday we'll release it. In episode 0, we figured out how to title this podcast. We call it Whistle the Feast.
I don't think you guys could be crazier in this conversation than we were in the first one, so say what you want.
That sounds like...
Sorry, I won't.
Right. Challenge accepted.
No,
Challenge accepted.
no.
So Whistle the Feast is what we call it. This is episode 1, and the theme I would like us to consider, we've already been considering. It's a quote from a guest artist in the gallery last year. He said, "The vocation of the artist is to be in the studio." He's a very carefully considered painter and a man who thinks and writes extensively about vocation. And so these topics cross over for him, and he chooses his words carefully. I'll say it again. The vocation of the artist is to be in the studio. And I think whoever this is hasn't introduced himself. We haven't introduced anybody yet. You just described that. Who are you, actually?
The official introduction now?
Sure, official introduction.
I'm Joey Pasbrig, and I'm a filmmaker.
Okay.
What's next?
Good. Well, say a little bit more about being a filmmaker.
I'm thinking about that now, so it's like, I feel like I'm supposed to say it a certain way, but...
No, you don't have to.
I know. I'm going to... I make films. I've been doing it since I was 11. It's kind of all I do.
Well, when you say you make films, that could be a lot of things. I've seen them. I know what you're talking about, but I hope we're talking to people we don't know.
I direct feature films that are primarily student-made, not as much anymore now that I've graduated, but we get a group together, we make a film in a year, and we try to release one each year. And that's slowed down quite a bit because we're putting a lot more effort into making it good as opposed to just getting it done. But yeah, so my team and I sit down. We spend many months, maybe even years, writing. Usually we're writing while we're making the other one. And then we film and edit. And these are like full-length films. They're action, sci-fi, horror, different genres. Yeah.
You have a very multifaceted studio. If we take this quote, you're in the studio when you are editing, when you are writing, when you're shooting, when you're composing music, when you're doing visual effects, coaching actors.
Yes.
Yeah, he composes too.
I was thinking about that so Jaksyn was telling me about about this quote and like what you guys came up with, and one of the things, my first thought was like, where is my studio? Because like I think it's primarily in production, but even then it's like sometimes it's in the middle of a forest, sometimes it's in a room with a bunch of lights blaring. Like it moves with me.
Yeah, and I think that's a good clarification. A painter says this quote, and he has a studio as a physical location where he makes his paintings. And I think we should clarify what we're talking about in terms of an artist and a studio is, these are broad definitions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, sometimes my studio, although I'm not even entirely sure what kind of work I do, like artistic work, but wherever I'm thinking or trying to solve a problem connected to, something I might be reading and writing about or wanting to talk about or whatever, then my studio is, oftentimes it's the dumpster behind the YFAC. Where I do lots of wool gathering. Jason sometimes comes and visits me.
We've met
in my studio. But it's the kitchen sink while I'm doing dishes, right? And stuff is still sort of mulling over. And then I suppose more literally, it's sitting down at a desk in front of a screen or a pad, right? And trying to actually write those ideas down. But yeah, I just do. So I like the idea that whatever space we happen to find ourselves in, that even just the thinking that we can do almost in spite of ourselves, right? As we're in the woods walking around or washing the dishes or something, is as valuable connected to whatever kind of creative process we're involved in or problem we're trying to solve, as is the time we spend in front of the easel or the typewriter. Yeah.
When I was
behind the camera,
I was being interviewed, and someone asked, "What does day one look like?" And my answer was probably 5th grade math class, kind of like the dishes thing, where it's like that's when the idea hit, and it's like that's when you don't always get to choose when you're at work doing your art. It's like, oh, my brain is making connections that I haven't decided yet, and that's still the work.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's hard to explain.
Yeah, because not everyone's like that.
Right.
And that's
it surprises
a weird thing
me.
I think everyone could be like, maybe.
Isn't
Not
the
everyone
brain,
is.
though, designed to solve problems? And so aren't we always trying to compute, like, how does A connect with Z? How does the hero get from the ordinary world to the special world back to the ordinary world?
Yeah, totally. But we're not always comfortable characterizing that work that our brain does just by virtue of being a brain, and then we're people thinking about things, We're not always willing to characterize that as productive. And
accepting distraction.
Oh,
that's a big part of
Yeah, and that's valuable too. I've been
cultural, right?
No, yeah, absolutely, totally. And it's a problem, I think, and it's one. So I'll try not to make this too long, but I'm having this weird experience this semester actually with the seniors in senior seminar, where as a way to try and make sure that we're being productive all semester long as we're working on these big projects, and we're avoiding the potential pitfall of just putting it off and never and only thinking about it and never quite getting to making the pudding, right? To actually writing the thesis. So I'm asking them to keep time logs, where they need to record at least 3 hours per week And then on Fridays, not only are they rehashing however they spent that time, but then they need to sort of demonstrate that they actually did what they recorded in the time log. And in a way that's working, and I'm doing it too, and it's actually been useful to me to know that, okay, I've got to do these 2 hours on this thing, and so no matter what else is going on in my life, I know I'm going to set that aside and work on this stuff. So it has helped me, I think, to be more disciplined. But then there's a part of me too that is bothered by a couple of things, one of which is, well, what if I'm just sitting in a chair thinking about my topic? And I do that for 2 hours. Can I record that in my time log? And I would say, yes, absolutely. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay, and then the next question was, then how do I prove that that's what I did? So
for the market.
Where's the pudding?
The nature of work, or the definition of work, seems to exclude that, sitting in a chair thinking.
Yeah. Yeah, but I would actually say that's hugely valuable.
Agreed.
Oh, yeah. It's hard.
And it's a huge part of the process.
The poet Philip Levine wrote a book called, I think, What is Work? That I recommend.
Yeah.
By the way, yes.
I think specifically about poets and how hard it would be to justify the kind of work that's necessary to make good poetry. I just think there's a whole lot of walking around.
Yeah.
There's a whole lot of appreciating and thinking and then a synthesis, Poetry is this great synthesis. Surprising combinations and just choices.
Yeah.
Andrew, I don't remember his last name, but his paintings.
Andrew Judkins.
Yeah, the big part of his process is walking in the woods. Like, even though he is there sometimes, like, for the sake of taking his reference photos, he talks about the experience as part of that.
Yeah.
Like, needing to get that experience from him to canvas, despite that not necessarily being a quantifiable thing you can just take. Because even the photo, I mean, he's talked about, like, I remember there was more, and I did more with the painting because I remember more. And he's not just following the physical proof that he can bring back.
Yeah.
That was one of the things I wrote down from his art show, was that he spoke about, like, going to walk to take his reference photos, but also, like, he said something like, I wanted to enjoy this not as an artist but as a person. And I think that just, like, though he said
not
I
on a
wanted
mission.
to enjoy it. Yeah,
he's not there to
artist.
make a painting.
It ties
He's there
them
to be
closer
there.
together. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It made him more of an artist to say that he was trying not to enjoy it as an artist.
Yeah.
Like,
agreed.
Oh, that also just seems so crucial to me, and how easy it is to trip yourself up. Where if you're not there to be there, like I don't know how often I've been working on a project, or I've talked to a student who's trying to write their way through something, and you get to a point where you're so self-conscious about how you sound, or about the quality of your idea, or whatever, that at a certain point you're not there, you're not in the idea anymore, right? You're only thinking about how it sounds, or polishing up, or hoping that you're going to make something really beautiful that's going to knock everybody's socks off. Somehow you have to do away with that, and be there to be there. And you have to do that other stuff too, right? I suppose a painter comes back to his work, a filmmaker comes back to their film in process, and you do the editing and the polishing, and you scrape off a little paint here, right? And as writers, we edit and shape and hone, but yeah, that comes later. Yeah.
So who are you?
I'm Lars Johnson, and I teach here at Bethany. I teach in the English department. So I'm a reader. I'm a writer of sorts. Mostly what I do is write down ideas for glorious works, or academic essays, or poems in a little black book that I never ever quite get to. So I have lots of things that I've begun but never quite finished. And And what? I'm a gatherer of wool.
Can you unfold that? You've said it twice now. What does that mean?
Yeah, I just like to think about stuff.
How is that gathering wool? Say,
isn't that a saying? That
maybe it is. I believe you.
If you're standing around wool gathering, doesn't that mean that you're just standing around sort of thinking your thoughts?
Well, I'm here to learn.
I like that. I'm sure I've heard that someplace.
I think that's a good time.
Maybe that's why people look at me weird when I say it, because it doesn't mean what I think it means.
Gathering wool.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
We got to sort of track down the etymology of that phrase, I think. But
I think just let it be. Just keep saying it.
Okay.
Agreed. Yeah.
Just wondering.
Go for it.
Maybe,
Yeah.
maybe they don't.
Anyway, that's who I am.
In this context.
Yeah.
All right. And who are you?
Oh, me. Yeah. I'm like, hi. I am Angie Johnson, and I teach in the English department, and I so love teaching gen eds. One of my favorite things to do is help a student who says, I don't like to write, I don't like to read, and then show them that they really do.
Yeah.
It's so much fun. Mm-hmm. So my studio is the classroom.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say that your studio and yours as well is also in the classroom. But it wasn't until this year, and I think you and I, Joey, talked about this a little bit in my office. I started as an artist and as a writer, but then I became a teacher, which oddly enough took me away from that, or I allowed it to take me away from that, because I had to figure out, what is this whole teaching thing about? And last year, Julie here came to me and she said, she shows up in my office, what brings you joy? I was like, so many things. But she said, you personally, think about it. And I was like, language on the page. I love words. And she said, why aren't you writing? And so it wasn't until this last year that I pulled out some old projects and I'm tackling them again. And for the 21-day writing challenge that Inkwell hosts or facilitates, I hit 86,000 words or something.
Let's
Wow.
go. That's
Isn't that
crazy.
Yeah. And I feel
21
like
days, right?
That's wild.
and the floodgates have opened, and I'm working on some projects again, which, by the way, makes me a better teacher.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So you're back.
I'm
I
back.
was going to say
I'm
that.
back, baby.
Well, that is sensational.
And
My
I'm
goodness.
terrified. It's like students. I'm like, this is garbage, but let's do something
But it
with
makes
it.
you relatable.
Yeah, well, I hope so. Yeah, because I'm in the same boat. So right now I'm writing an essay with my English 110 class. We're doing, sorry for those of you, all of you. Joey, wait, no, you didn't have me. Yes, you did. You took
Yeah, but it was
online.
asynchronous, yeah.
It was
So we didn't
online,
really ever,
right? And
we
was
had
that
one
like
conversation.
COVID
Yeah.
or something,
Oh.
yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, sorry about that. We still had fun.
Yeah.
But the two of you were also in my English 110 class.
Yeah.
Well, this year we're doing humor writing. So
Ooh.
earlier, Norah, you asked, what am I reading? Over Christmas break, I had read so much dystopian lit the previous semester. I needed some levity.
Yeah.
So I read a book written by Jim Gaffigan called
Hey.
Cat is Fat. It was hilarious. But then it got me thinking. I was like, wait a minute. When comedians are so clever with language,
Yeah.
wouldn't this be a great way to study language and get students to be creative? We're constantly telling them in the composition classroom, play with language, take risks. But by the way, format it like this and integrate your sources like this.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden the joy is sucked out of it, right? You can say yes, it's okay. I know that we lost some of the joy in the classroom sometimes. But I don't want to do that again. So we're trying to bring humor into the classroom. So we've been reading Jenny Lawson, Jim Gaffigan, Dave Barry. Yeah, and
That's cool.
It's a lot of fun. And because I am playing with language and writing with my students, oh man, I feel alive again. It feels so good. Yeah,
That's awesome.
so yeah.
Congratulations.
Well, thank
Yeah.
Now you got me thinking that comedy is an excellent playground for the liberal arts.
Isn't it? Yeah,
Comics have to be so smart.
they do.
They bring these separate things together and then deliver it in such like a concise package.
Yeah.
It's a different kind of poetry, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah, where every word matters.
And it happens in your head. They
Mhm.
make something like connect that you didn't think would connect, and you're surprised.
Yep.
So fun.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of fun
Yeah.
to be subversive too.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Speaking of subversive, who are you?
Wait.
Yeah, that's the first thing that pops into my head when I think about you, subversive. I'm just kidding.
I'm Norah. I'm very subversive. I go to school here. We're Bethany. I'm a sophomore. I like to read and write, and I also like to paint and draw, and talk to people most of the time. I like talking to people. And I think I like learning. I think so. Like, most of the time, like, I feel like there's this very, like, society's very much put this, like, pressure on, like, you, like, school, like, it's not that fun. Like, you'll have boring classes. Like, you're not gonna want to be there a lot of the time. So I think there's part of it that's like that, where I'm like, I probably I'm not gonna enjoy this that much. But then I feel like I go to classes and I learn stuff, and I'm like,
You ask
It's
way
pretty
too
fun.
many questions to not know if you like learning or not.
Yeah.
Like, you definitely like learning. Like, it's like
great.
it's one of those, like, what are you talking about? And you're like, I don't know. It's like, are you kidding? Like, what are you talking? Like,
Okay,
we
so
do.
I'm Norah. I'm subversive, and I do like learning. I do like learning.
Which apparently is subversive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a subversive way of thinking. Right?
I just saw a quote that curiosity is the purest form of subversion. No, insubordination. Purest form of insubordination.
Yeah.
Way too.
Okay.
Who said that?
Well,
Right?
Sorry.
Cite your sources.
An unknown.
no, that makes perfect
Source.
sense though, because you would always
Jackson's
be
noting that, and he's going to get it for us.
Yeah.
curious. You're always picking at things. You're always, turning them over and looking at the bottom side and potentially at the stuff you're not supposed to look at, and then thinking sort of new or different things about whatever it is, because you're looking at it from every angle, and potentially that's insubordinate, right? Because all of a sudden it's like, well, it's sort of like what we were attempting to do, and this is such a good demonstration of how much you like learning and how curious you are. But what we were attempting to do in college writing too,
Right.
we were trying to mix the academic and creative nonfiction, right? But if you're looking at the essay from all these different angles, and Norah did, and you keep turning it over, and then you're sort of combining. You said it wasn't an argument, but it was. An argument about reliquies and how they're interesting or important, and how they have been interesting or important over time. And then for Norah personally, you're making an argument about that has an academic quality. Yeah. You're supporting some of that with secondary sources, but then you're also sort of mixing in poems and these punchy vignettes, right, that are nonfiction, and these anecdotes and all this stuff, and wound up making what somebody who's looking for a traditional academic essay would probably say, that's insubordination. You're not doing what you're supposed to do here. But I think that had to be driven by curiosity.
Thank you. That was a really fun. That
And
was a
you're
fun class.
so good at being creative.
Thank you.
Yes, I thought when you were in my class that you loved learning.
Good. I did love
Or you
class.
faked it really well.
Well, so Norah, you and I had a short conversation today, and let's just continue it.
Yeah.
You
Where
were
we?
you were asking about how to proceed on a painting project, a series, whether it should be a series. Can you just get us up to speed on what you're intending?
Okay, so I don't know if you've all seen it. I made a painting called Simul Justus et Peccator. So it's like a Byzantine icon. That one.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. So I really like portraiture. Like, I haven't done that much of it yet, but right now that's what I'm really into. And so I really liked that painting. I liked the size of it. I liked the thing doing it and learning what I learned while I was painting it. And so, like, while I was painting it, I was like, okay, like, I like a lot of what I'm doing here. Maybe I should continue to try to explore this concept of, like, simultaneousness. I think I got the most important example of simultaneousness in my life out already, which is, like, spiritual simultaneousness. But I think that we see that in a lot of other places in our lives, like, what I was talking to Jason about, the idea that I still have is, like, simultaneousness in time, because I feel like as we grow up a little bit, there's like this weird mourning that people have for like their past selves, and especially I think at our age right now, that it's like you're not a kid anymore. And I don't know, it's like, well, I'm every past version of myself. Like, the person who I was when I was 16 is still me now. Like, I still have all of that. So it's like, I don't know, I think some people frame growing up as a great loss, but it's like I'm gaining so much more because I still have everything that I had before. So I don't know, I think there's this weird like simultaneousness where, yeah, like I said, I'm the same person I was when I was 6. I just have more now. And so the idea that I have for the portrait is my little sister, because I'm like, that's about as close as I can get to myself when I was younger, right? So, and I have reference pictures of her that would be fun to use, and so I want to do for this specific painting, I'd really want to do another, like a portrait and oil painting, but then it would be a plainer background again. I have the color swatch of the paint of my childhood bedroom, so I was like, that would be a cool background color. And then I would want to do more of the details, like the framing. If I do more than one, all of the subjects will have a halo, because that touches everything. So I still want that, but I think all the background details I would want to use like Crayon markers and crayons, and I like embroidering my paintings. I tried that on the Simul Justus one as well, and I was like, you know those like really like fat beads that you use for like friendship bracelets when you're a kid? It would be really fun to embroider some of those on. So that's a really solid idea that I think is part of a series from the Simul Justus painting. Like, it would be done in the same style, and it's kind of almost about the same thing, like simultaneousness, which I think a little bit to me implies that like there's a series here, and then also part of me wants to keep making those paintings because I've never done a series of paintings before. So like in pursuit of education of what is it like to make a series of paintings? Like, how do I continue different themes throughout all of the paintings, and how do I keep a through line of a subject throughout a series of paintings? So like I'm just on the fence about like, should I do that painting? Because like I describe that in a lot of detail, but I also have other ideas that like for other paintings, and like 2 isn't really a series, so I wouldn't just want to do 2. I feel like I would want to do 3.
Why?
Or 5.
You say like, I don't know if it's a good idea, but there's like no negative to it. Like, why not just make another, if you don't know if it's going to be a series, why not just make another painting? And it can just be that. And
I don't know, because it feels like unfinished.
That's dumb.
Because it's like, why would you only do simultaneousness spiritually and simultaneousness in time? Like, why would you do
these choices
you have such an urge to make it. Like, why worry about the why you want to make it?
Yeah.
And you're not even worried about the why. You're worried about the practicality. But it's literally you're putting goo on like a sewed white thing. Like, why do you care about like how, like, just do it.
Yeah.
Just make it. I'm good at rationalizing these things.
That was the craziest way to describe painting I've ever heard.
I guess it's not that practical anyway, so maybe I just won't paint at all.
This is not about practicality.
No, I know.
Far from it.
Well, and that might be a good example of, like, back to the artist's statement about being in the woods to be in the woods, and not necessarily to make a painting. But I mean, so you have to be there to be there. So I mean, you have to make the thing, whatever it is that you're driven to make. You know, it's so easy to get hung up on. And oh my gosh, you already have such a pretty detailed and nuanced kind of, not a theory exactly, but an aesthetic in mind, right? It's going to serve this larger series, and it's going to look like this and do this, and it's coming from this, right, this kind of framework that I've thought through. It's super easy to get hung up on just doing the theorizing and putting together that sort of aesthetic or theoretical apparatus, right? Without ever then getting to the thing itself. And then sometimes I think this happens to me. I sort of freak myself out.
Yeah.
Because the theory gets so crazy, or the idea, and then it turns into this idealized thing in my mind, right? And then the minute I sit down to try to realize that ideal, of course, whatever comes out on the page initially falls so far short of that then I'm like, oh, I may as well, I better not do this.
Kind of heartbroken.
Yeah.
And you're also, you're going to be, I mean, if you're growing in a certain craft, you're going to be better in 1 year than how you are now. And that version of you, a year in the future, might be so much better than what you're trying to do right now, that if you wait too long and get to that point, you just won't make your thing.
Yeah.
Like if you wait for future you to tell you that it's not good enough, that you're just going to keep doing that over and over until all of a sudden, like, oh, I'm afraid. Like that's just that I don't make stuff. I'm just afraid.
Yeah.
And you don't want to be at that point.
Yeah.
No. Yeah. Yeah. Talk about heartbroken. So make your painting. Paint your painting, and then the other beautiful thing is that, right? I think oftentimes in association with writing, but I'm sure it applies to other creative endeavors too, or just intellectual endeavors, I suppose. That part of what happens in the act of making the thing, writing the poem, painting the painting, whatever, is that you discover, right, what you actually wanted to say, or you discover some other thing that you weren't planning on saying or representing, but all of a sudden you are. Right, and then potentially that takes it in a direction that you weren't anticipating and doesn't necessarily fit within that nice sort of framework that you've come up with.
Yeah.
Right, but it's still this really rich possibility, and so it becomes part of a different series, or it makes more sense as a standalone work, or whatever. But you don't know, you wouldn't know for sure until you actually do it.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Who was the painter that painted water lilies?
Claude Monet.
He just did that. Like he just always painted water lilies. It wasn't always necessarily, there were series, but it wasn't always necessarily just like, I have to do this so that it matches the other ones. It was just, he had a pond outside?
Yeah, and
what was the?
He was looking. That was direct observation.
Yeah.
So, this is like Lars saying, you got to, be in the woods first. There's an external impulse before the intent. In that case, and it was a series. He went over and over and over to the water lilies, but everyone's different because that's kind of his whole point, that you can't know. You have to show up, and you have to be curious, and your stance toward the world, your stance towards your work, ought not to be one of, I know what I'm doing. It's more like, well, what's it like today? And then you show up and you actually use your eyes and you actually respond and start by being present.
Yeah.
I really like what you're saying, Lars, that the stance maybe ought not to be so strategic. What you're talking about, like the discovery that is inevitably or possibly in the action, you can't predict. You do the thing. We've all made things. You do the thing, and you might be a spectator at your own show. You might be surprised by something. That's kind of part of the ride. It's part of the reason to do it, because you don't know. You show up because you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah. So I just love that mindset. Hey, got to really work on that. How uncomfortable we are with that idea, just generally speaking.
Oh yeah, I'm sitting
right?
here going, that is so terrifying.
Like
Yeah.
not having a plan.
I have a lot more to say about that.
That's crazy.
I can help you. Because I've been working this. Like we were talking about sitting and thinking.
Yeah.
Right? This topic I've been working on. I've been mulling it over. One of the most helpful ideas has come through a woodworking magazine. I'm telling everybody I can about Mortise and Tenon magazine. Mortise and Tenon. It's in the library at Bethany. As far as I know right now, all the copies are checked out because I've been telling everybody. But this podcast will release, and they'll probably be back on the shelves. These guys give me vocabulary for this because they advocate hand tools. They advocate pre-industrial woodworking.
Is this what you told me that inspired my local woodworker thing, or was that a different woodworker?
Probably, like you got like a prototype version of this, conceptually. So they give me vocabulary. They talk about the work of risk associated with this pre-industrial kind of hand tool approach compared to the work of certainty. The work of certainty they see as kind of the modern industrial factory approach to making. So take the example of making a cabinet, just an object. You can do this different ways, and we might not realize that. You get to that end through different stances, and that's all it is. It's like a philosophy about what you think you're doing. The work of risk, well, let's go to the familiar first. The work of certainty. If you've ever picked up any woodworking catalog or any home handyman catalog, there's ads in it that are trying to sell you something, and the tagline just about every time is some variation of, "We'll make you look good fast." Guaranteed results. The device will practically do it for you. That's the dream. This is like as seen on TV kind of stuff. Yeah. Has this ever happened to you? Right? And then like some fumbling human, and then like this device makes it all better. Yeah. That's the dream of the work of certainty, that a device makes it all better. It's the way a factory works. I regret to say I think it's the way education might be working. It's the way government works. It's how we deal with batches. It's how we deal with scale. Anytime we want to like repeat, do a lot of something, we rely on certainty and we rely on devices.
And even though it has very prominent failures and shortcomings, but they're predictable. Because they're predictable, they're accepted.
Right. It feels better because we knew that was coming.
Yeah.
Certainty is the desire. Assurances, we want certainty, we feel better in this stance, this mindset. So if we're building a cabinet in the work of certainty, right, you've got like a plan, and you've got measurements, and then you might have a device that has like fences and jigs and, like a CNC cutter, or we hear a lot about computerized devices nowadays, and that's just an extension of, assurance. Okay, so that's kind of something we maybe can recognize, and we can see it in a lot of realms. The work of risk is something that we have a distant memory of, and maybe it's a little romanticized, or it's a little sort of dismissed. But the more I think about it, the more I think this is actually really vital. The work of risk is like learn how to use 3 tools. In woodworking, it's a hand plane, a saw, a chisel, something like that. you'll be bad. You'll be clunky and clumsy at the beginning. And then if you cross the threshold of sticking with it, getting better, what happens is your eyes get better at assessing what needs to happen. Your hands get more sensitive at slight variations, slight changes in pressure and angle. And pretty soon, maybe not pretty soon, it takes a while, but the end result is you develop skill, and that skill means that with very few tools you can do anything. You can build anything with just a couple tools. Compare that to the device. When that device expires, as it's planned to do, planned obsolescence is built into all of these objects, you've got nothing left. You don't have a skill, you don't have a device, and now you're stuck. You can't do any work. And any skills that you had have been atrophied by this device. It promises big and delivers for a while until the batteries run out, quote, The skill side just keeps on delivering more and more and more. Your skill compounds, you're able to handle things, and you actually get faster than setting up a machine. It's like these people who can do math faster than a calculator. Both can make a cabinet. The question is, which one is actually good for the worker? Which method is actually good for the worker?
What was the theme of my last film?
Say more.
Well, I could literally read the line, and I would just be repeating pretty much everything you said. But I write theme as a question, and the question is about what risks are worth taking. And it's kind of in that concept. In the film, it's applied to education. So it's the main character wants to learn this specific type of science. And he could either work at the school he likes, and that's what he's doing at the beginning. He could work at the school he likes, listen in on lectures when he can, save up for a decade, and then go to the school there. Or he could jump into the deep end and work with these scientists on it, and it's much riskier, and he does, and the risks are very evident. And the ending is a tragic ending, and the question remains, are there risks worth taking? It's like, did he do the right thing by taking risks, even if it failed for him? And what I love is that so many people have a different answer to the same thing. Ari and I, that Ari is my other writer, we differ in what we think, and we both wrote it.
Yeah.
Like, we wrote the same thing, we had the same plan, and we disagree on what the truth is about it. But there's a scene where one of the two characters who's trying to explain the concept of risks, he explains exactly what you talk about. You probably know that, but, hi viewers. But yeah, he talks about a woodworker, and he talks about a woodworker failing. In the line he says, he splits the wood, he misses his line, he, something else, I don't remember, and just lists all these things that the woodworker fails at compared to the machine. But then he slows down, he turns to the main character, and he says, Uncle Woodworker learns from his mistakes. And that's kind of the point of that conversation for him. He's basically saying, you took a risk, you're going to fail, and you're going to learn. And that's, yeah. So that scene is the thesis of the film.
I feel like wait, keep going.
No, I was mocking you. You went.
Okay. I feel like it's weird, in the course of us talking about this, how many times, terror has come up with the theme of the creative process of just, almost every step of it is just really scary. So it's no wonder we've kind of moved towards, doing machines. No, you're good. There's something about, revealing our inadequacy that is so terrifying. Oh, that's just we really don't want to do that, which talk about proof of God. Why are we so uncomfortable with showing our own inadequacy? It's almost like we're being held accountable for it. You know what I mean? That's just such an interesting the act of starting is scary, and I think probably the scariest part for me anyways is there's always a point in the creative process where like you've started and there's the thought of like, but what if it's really bad? And you get past it and you're like, no, I just have to do it. And then you get to a point where you're like, my worst like nightmare about this came true and it is really bad. Like it actually is really bad.
Yeah. I'm there every time.
And then you have to keep going.
This is legitimately garbage
it's
right
so
now.
Scary.
You know it's going to be there.
Yeah.
I think, and I feel like I haven't gotten rid of that fear, but I have learned to tell that voice to shut up. Like it's really easy for me. Like it's easy for me to feel that and be like, oh, hey, everything about this feels wrong. I don't care. Trust the process. Like you have to like kind of like beat yourself into submission with that, where it's like, no, like I'm finally like you have to make yourself understand, like, no, I'm gonna keep powering through. And because sometimes it's not fear, sometimes something else happens and it kind of feels the same way, but like, you're like, no, this is instinct telling me not to do this. It's not fear. But yeah, I don't know if that might be a little abstract, but
No, that actually
That's exactly what Aaron Lamont says. Right? I cannot
in a crappy first draft.
Crappy first draft. That's retitled her. But we have to learn to figure out which voice belongs to which inner critic, and how well we need to make that choice whether or not to listen. So we have to tell that voice to just be quiet, and you are not invited to this party. So okay, yeah.
And then
that's smart.
And I don't know at what point in any of our processes this occurs, or if it's a part of all of them, even for the woodworker, who I suppose at some point needs to have his work looked at and commented on by somebody else. And certainly in writing, right, we talk all the time about needing to have other readers who would give you constructive criticism or advice or right, whatever the case may be. And that part of that fear about making something horrendous or ugly or something that you're worried is going to make you sound stupid or look stupid in the eyes of others. I think a lot of that fear comes from that. For me, because for me certainly, but I hear this from students all the time who, even if they're not saying it, are worried, I think, about having other people look at their work, and unwilling sometimes to take those risks because they know there's always that possibility, and no matter what, you're making visible somehow, making manifest or concrete yourself. Right? And boy, and that is such a hard thing. And so, yeah, you've got to learn to tell that voice to shut up. Try to get comfortable with sharing your work with other people, wherever it's right in the process, right? And I suppose there's some stuff that maybe you don't ever share for one reason or another. And sometimes you share stuff early on, sometimes later. It depends, I suppose, project by project. But to try and get more comfortable with that.
I was talking with a friend about feedback and like the concept of feedback, and he's not at a very he's not a field that needs him to like get feedback from other people. And I was telling him my process, and like we write the script, we make it really good, and then we give it to people to like rip it apart. And he was like, he kind of like, I was surprised at how surprised he was, but he was like, how can you do that? Like, how can you put so much into something? And like, I think part of it was that I used the terms rip it apart. Like, and he was like, how can you just like be willing to do that? And it made me realize that I don't like it. Like, it's very useful for me. And I think it's great. And I love the results of it, but I hate reading constructive criticism. So like, when Angie is like reviewing my script and I see something I didn't think about, I'm like, oh, that is so obvious. Well, no, but I know, but I ultimately know, there's the feeling and then there's the knowledge where it's like, this is how it works. This is the process. But like, there's just that, like, there's also kind of the concept of like, I was actually thinking about this, when I was thinking about the podcast. I was like, I'm going to say something really philosophical. And I was like thinking of stuff to say. It fits right here. It fits right here. you have a percentage of attention that you're putting into something. So for me, I'm using a script as an example. I'm writing a script, and I have to split up like into 100 different pieces, right? 100% of my attention in the script gets split up. So there's a little bit here, a little bit here. Maybe this really cool scene's got like 10 little pieces of. It's got 10% of my attention. Maybe this scene that feels like filler has like no percent of my attention. All this stuff, and you give it to another person for feedback. Well, then they're going to have their 100%. So they're still not able to focus on everything, but more than likely, it's going to be different parts of the script that have different percent of that attention. So you give it to more and more people, and all of a sudden you're getting random pieces of things that you're not even thinking about because you're so focused on the story as a whole that like, oh, I didn't even realize this line makes no sense because my attention was elsewhere. And maybe a reader does the same thing. And like sometimes I show just a piece of a script, or like, how does this scene sound? Or what does this line sound like? Like I asked Lydia, how does this line sound? She put a ton of time into thinking about it and had this very detailed thing about this line. And she was saying things I didn't even think about because I have never only focused on that line. Because even when I'm writing the line, I'm thinking ahead, I'm thinking behind, I'm thinking whatever, like everything about it. So it's just interesting in some fields, because I don't think you need feedback all the time. But in fields where you do, you have to think of like, how much attention can you give it? How much attention can someone else give it?
Yeah.
And you got to prioritize that.
That is so interesting.
Yeah.
It's weird because I feel like that must be learning how to scatter that kind of stuff must just be like a skill that you learn as you get older and older. Because I was talking to Maida and she was talking about the exact same thing. She was talking about it in regards of like the amount of time that you have in a day that like you can't give 100% to everything, and you also like it was also about this thing but not saying yes to everything like along those same lines. But I mean, you're talking about that same thing. It's just in regards to a script. It's
sometimes I wonder,
so interesting.
I don't think this is fully true, but sometimes I wonder if maybe it's possible to not necessarily become a better writer. You know, like me, and I don't like maybe my draft one is always horrible, and maybe I've never learned anything from last film's draft one to now's draft one. And maybe the learning process and the getting better at a craft is all in the feedback. I don't think that's fully true, but like that, I wonder how much percent of getting better is actually coming from how you take feedback.
Yeah.
You know, like
I've never heard an idea like that, and it rings really true right now.
Yeah.
like what if what if my baseline stays the same? Like let's say I write a really bad first draft, get a bunch of feedback, the draft goes to here. Next film, right back here. Instead of going from here to here, what if I'm going from here to here and then here a little higher each time, but the baseline's barely shifting? I
don't know that feedback is actually the factor.
Well, and it's different from craft to craft, or like even just situation. That's just my example.
It's also how you receive the feedback.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's important.
And I suppose at some point not that we ever sort of cap out or right become
you don't get perfect. Yeah, you don't reach it.
We're never getting there, right? So you're always improving. But I love this idea about the importance of feedback. But I got to believe that the baseline. I know it does. I know now I start in a different place and produce something early on that's much different than it was 10 years ago or whatever. I'm just more comfortable now with language than I used to be in some ways, and so I don't know what to call it exactly, but I think I have a degree of fluency now that I didn't then, and a lot of that I think is due to the feedback, as well as me just reading a lot and writing a lot. But I do think my baseline has shifted.
I wonder if there's
I need the feedback too. Yeah.
I wonder if there's a choice involved, like I could either get better or I could get faster. Like, let's say I have 5 months to write a script, and I get better.
Man.
I could write. I know that the horrible number. I don't know why I picked 5, but we're going with that. Okay, we get 5 months to write a script, and the next year I get 5 months again. I'm probably going to be better if I use the same time. But what if I used 4 months and I made the same exact quality of script, but in the next month I used it for something different, like maybe a different layer of pre-production that I learned on. You know what I mean? So it's still improving something, but you're making the choice between speed and skill, I guess. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Oh man, I get needed. Oh, so I hate that choice. I don't want to go faster.
Forget about the story.
Well, I'm just thinking about how long.
Important things. There's nothing wrong with not thinking about the speed. I wish students would slow down and think about what they have to say. I mean, put on word vomit on the page at first, but then think about what came out.
Yeah.
And look at those symbols and what they tell you about your thinking.
That's another forum for surprise.
Yes.
You'll change if
Yeah.
you wait. You'll change.
But I suppose in part you're imagining a life as you're thinking of continuing your life as a filmmaker who wants to make money.
There's deadline involved, yeah.
Right.
And
which is
and working within a system, that requires deadlines.
It requires like a level of
efficiency.
Prioritization.
Yeah.
Like you have to pick. Like right now, I have a certain amount of months until we shoot. Like we're gonna shoot in May. We're not shooting before. We're not shooting after. What am I gonna spend that time doing? And it's like that's where I start to pick. Okay, I have these 4 months to decide what I'm going to spend all my time doing. And like, okay, maybe the cinematography of this film is going to be the best yet. Maybe it's the acting. Maybe my directing is going to get better. Maybe it's this. Because I'm not at a level where I have like a huge team where I can only focus on acting. Yeah. I have to split myself up. It's kind of back to the attention thing with like the 100%. Like I still have to do that in that amount of time. And it's weird. Yeah, it's kind of weird, like figuring out what my priority is because I don't know yet.
Cool.
Well, my advice to you, for whatever it's worth, focus on getting better, not faster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's this weird
Skill.
There's this weird element at the beginning though that almost is speed. Because I mean, after I took your class at college. The college writing 1, right? Mm-hmm. And we practice free writing now. I find that almost with everything, I have to write articles for the Scroll every week, and like the first thing that I do is still like free writing. And for me, for that, it is almost speed just because I forget things. So it's like there's right at the beginning, there's like it's like your destination is like there's a bunch of hot embers between you and that, and it's like, oh, you have to go over really fast so you can get into the thick of it and actually start working. So there's this weird element of speed at the beginning of just trying to like get an idea out.
I think that's
kind of
iteration.
Scary.
You just quickly get to your second draft.
Sure.
It's the revision where the magic happens.
That's also scary.
Yes.
I think honestly I prefer revision to actually doing the. It seems so much easier because it seems like someone's just telling you what to do.
Yeah.
Like it's like you make your thing and then someone says like this isn't working. It's like okay, I'll work on that. I'll fix that part. And
Yeah.
like, hey, what if this was this? Great. Yeah. Like it seems like much more like you're filling in the blanks.
Yeah.
Specifically in what I do. That might be very
So
different.
there's fewer calories involved.
Yeah. Or even like when I'm doing a video for a client, the first set of notes they give me tells me exactly what I need to work on. It's like perfect. Like there's my schedule. Like there's what I do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Joey, making a film is such a long campaign.
Crazy.
So many things.
Yeah.
I really admire the sort of multifaceted person you personally have to be.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just say, like, project management.
Yeah.
You need to handle all these people and their schedules. Scheduling people, I can't schedule this.
Yeah.
You know,
You
Norah
did.
Norah did.
That's why I'm here.
Yeah, Nora's here for many reasons, and that's one of them.
Well, in an ideal world,
Thank you, Nora.
I wouldn't be doing it.
Right,
Yeah,
but
I
I'm
might
just
not
but
be.
I'm just getting
But you
started.
do,
Yeah.
but
You
you
know,
still
like
have
there's
to.
that, and we could dive down into project management. I think there's just something about like the determination it takes to make all of it, to fight through all the different factors.
I had a conversation with Ben Kelm about ego, and I think I know that that's something I've struggled with is ego, but I have also recognized the importance of it in a certain sense. For example, I'm trying to fundraise a film. How does this look? We're making a film. We need $56,000. We could probably make it happen. I don't know if we can do. How does that look? If I say we're making this film, we have a great track record. We're good at it. Look at this work. We need money now. Like that's a lot different.
Confidence.
Yeah.
And you're talking about determination, and it's real, but it's also very intentional. It's like, look, I'm determined. Like, like
It's like a tool.
Yeah.
It kind of has to be. But the way Ben and I talk about this a lot because he's doing his own projects, not film, but like, and he talks about infectious passion, and he said that I'm good at that, and it's like that's something that I feel like I need to have because what I do is I'm standing on the shoulders of everyone else. What do I do when I direct? I stand with my arms folded, looking, and I talk to people. That's not a ton of work. I mean, it is, but my point is like, you know, I have people doing the hard stuff with the camera. I have people that are handling all this stuff, and I have to make them believe in it.
Yeah.
Like they have to believe in it, and that's my job to get them to believe in it. I have to
You
and they
set
gotta
the
believe me.
Yeah.
circumstances.
Yeah.
It's I love Bethany has been the only the first time I've been able to just be on a film set, which I know is only a percentage of the work. You also have to write and do pre-production and stuff. But so I've maybe been on one of Joey's film sets, but I've been on Tyler Pasbrig, Joey's younger brother. I've been on his as well, and it's it is so fun to just be there. And I know that's a privilege because everyone else is working really hard, and most of the time I'm either literally not doing anything or people are like, hey, can you hold this light? And I'm like, yeah. And so I'll or you know how to do audio? And I'm
Why is it
no.
fun? Wait, say more.
Okay, so it's just
Is it
I don't
Valley
know,
Fair
it's-
fun?
it's
roller
fun
coaster
to
fun?
watch people, number one, be good at something that I can't even begin to understand, but I think that maybe a little bit I could.
This might be you enjoying learning. Because I want to preface this with something. I want you to keep going, but I also want you to know that I don't know if everyone feels this way.
Yeah.
And I'll talk about that after, but I want to hear your...
It's just
Opinions vary.
I would say it's definitely weirdly inspirational, and it's in a way that I appreciate seeing people be professional in art. And I think in a painting studio at least, it's a very calm environment, and there's not a lot of... Maybe being on a film set is like being in a painter's head when they're trying to plan and execute a painting. So it's fun to see how good you guys are at what you do, first of all. I like hearing you guys talk about how to do camera work and what lens to use and what to do for different things, because I have no clue what they're talking about, and they sound really, really professional when they're doing it. So they're like, no, we should probably use this lens, and then, but the light, bring that one down a little bit, and if those could be a little bit greener too. And I'm like, what are they even? Wow, this is crazy. And I'm Tyler's hey, we need the candle to flicker a little bit. Can you breathe on it? It's just so fun to it's such a crazy, extremely passionate environment. For most of their movies, as of now, am I wrong in saying people haven't been paid to be on your film sets yet?
Yet.
Hopefully they will be.
This changes, yeah.
In a second. But they're so intensely like passionate and also professional about what they're doing, and it's like he's 1 year older than me. That's crazy, and he knows the different lenses on the big camera to use, and like, so I think it's really fun to be in.
There's a
An
level
environment like that. It's crazy.
there's a level of energy on set.
Yes, there totally is.
But that goes for me, and this is something that this is probably the biggest thing I'm working on with directing. Let's say my energy, there's 0 to 100. I'm always at 100. But there's the stressed 100, there's the excited 100. And I'm not only on the excited 100.
Yeah.
You know, so like so we'll be on set, and this I don't think you have been on a set for one of my films.
I think I've only been on Tyler's.
But I mean, even on Tyler's, like there's different moments where like I'm always at that 100. If I'm not at the 100, I feel like I'm not caring enough about it.
Yeah.
If I'm at the 100 and it's stress, that's okay. I'm stressed because I need it to be good. If it's exciting, that's okay. I'm excited about it. But if I'm not that stressed about it and I'm not that excited about it, something is wrong. It's like, okay, what's going on? Like, where is it me? Is it the project? Like, and we figured out pretty quickly. But like, I remember, I think honestly, and this is something that I worry a little bit about, but I feel the most rewarded after an extremely stressful shoot. And it's because the work pays off. You know, when you're excited, it's like, this is super fun. We got a super fun result. That's great. And that is a good thing. That is objectively a good thing. But sometimes I feel like when I go through such a struggle for something and it turns out just as good as the thing I was excited about, it's like, yes, like it paid off. And there was a shoot where, I don't know if any of you would have seen it. It was called you would have seen it. It's called Under the Front Line. And we shot it in a storm tunnel. Deep in a storm tunnel. Like we had a skateboard of equipment, and we had to what's it called when you like swing down a rope to get to rappel. We had to rappel down to this tunnel, you know, and like we had like 4 people on the rope at a time passing gear to each other. We get in, we're in the tunnel for 8 hours from daytime to nighttime. No light coming in, you know, we're stuck in this like horrible tunnel to be in. And there was a moment where I had to climb up this manhole, not get out, but just up like the tube to hold a light. And I'm just up there, and I just realize how stressed I am. And I'm just like, I just needed a minute. And it was like the most horrible feeling. And I think to this day is the hardest shoot I've ever done. And I was just like, okay, like, you're choosing to do this? You want to do this? Like, you had a class assignment and you chose to film in a dark tunnel. Great. Remember that. Get back down and do your job. So I went out, we finished filming, and then we had to clean up. Cleanup was also horrible because, again, we're bringing stuff back up, but now we have to worry about putting it in the right boxes and making sure nothing gets left and all this stuff. And I was talking with Alec Mueller, and we both had this kind of realization. This is our payment. We could pay other people to do this. On big sets, you have your PAs, you have your grips, you have your people that will handle this. This is our payment. We're not paying in money. We're paying in the labor that we're putting into this. And we can still buy a meal. You know what I mean? It's like, is it worth it? Of course. It's so worth it. And that's where I feel kind of the struggle paying off feeling.
Yeah.
That was a lot.
No, that's okay. I mean, I think that's kind of capturing what I was thinking. There's a lot of responsibility on a film set.
Ben in that one?
Yes, but for one shot. Do you know John Tomford, right?
Yeah, I saw it.
Yeah.
So he's
I saw that.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And yeah, Ben. But you guys probably saw the wrong version.
Oh.
Because the wrong version was put into FOMA, which I was really regretful of. Because as soon as I saw it on screen, I was like, I spent so many hours on the color, and that's not the right one.
Oh, no.
Like the real one is it's just prettier, it's scarier. You don't see the orange tip of the gun. But yeah.
That'll do
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
So
Can't control everything.
is that being in a studio?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, that was my
That's
studio
studio.
that day.
Yeah, and you know, like
You were in the studio when you were in somebody else's studio.
Yeah,
The
like,
mausoleum
that's just-
for Mina.
Yeah, exactly. there's something in there.
That was for me. That was a stressful, high energy level. I was 100 on stress.
Yeah, and my position on these film sets is absolutely a privilege. Like, for me, it's pretty much a zero stress situation and all excitement. Because I can, like, soak in that energy of, like, wow, this is so cool. Like, I'm on a film set, and they're, like, freaking out about, like, I have the lights connected to my phone, but the batteries are dying. What if someone calls? But there's a bat flying around. What if someone calls the police on us? Like, it's, like, this different level of stress, so... If you ask a director and they say, okay, for you to come on a film set and just stay out of the way, you should do it.
I'm going to take us back to our quote and redirect our attention a little bit. Because this is Paul Burmeister speaking. He's a professor and administrator at Wisconsin Lutheran College. And when he says vocation, he means Lutheran vocation. Luther's understanding of vocation, as in, God has given you this work. And I think that, so take the story of that chute. There you are in a tunnel. You're rappelling to this dark cave, right? And if we're saying that's your studio, right, and you're saying to yourself, you're doing this on purpose, and I'm observing that there's something in you that really kind of needs to do this. As an artist, I've been working on the idea of what does it mean vocationally as a Christian to be an artist? Because while that was a class assignment, you chose the level of difficulty and challenge. Kind of. Like there's something in you that kind of can't.
Just
not.
I know you mean.
Right? So the thing maybe for us to weigh is, did God put that in you in some way? That desire? Or me? Like there's something in me that really just has to make sculptures, and I kind of am not in control of that. It has to come. It doesn't have to pay necessarily, right? It doesn't even have to be somebody else's desire, but
I'm not making a dime off of this.
It's just coming out.
Yeah.
Like it or not, here it comes.
And so to fulfill our vocations in the way Paul is talking about, or as Christians, then on some level, I guess I don't know if this is the right term to use, but obligated to pursue those rather than, for instance, deciding to do something else because it seems safer or more practical or offers us a kind of guarantee.
I just want to highlight that that's a very difficult thing for an artist to think through.
Yeah.
At any age, any level. Because there will always be somebody who wants to prioritize your time for you. Right? But if you feel specifically called and you can recognize in yourself that actually you can do some good with this, obligation or responsibility kind of bubbles up, and I really think there's a lot of work to be done in terms of the vocation of the artist in our Lutheran circles.
I think obligation is a really interesting topic. I've talked to Angie about this once before, and I got a lot of comfort from our conversation, actually, because I think I brought up, like a lot of the time this writing thing is so hard. Like, it's so hard. But I keep doing it. I don't even, like, in my free time, I'm like, I should probably go write something. Like, and I'm like, I don't even feel like I want to, but, like, I need to go write something. And you were like, that is a feeling that has been described over and over again by writers and painters and just artists, like creators in general. And it's not a want. Half the time, maybe even more than half the time, it's a need.
Mm-hmm. Hard to explain.
Super hard to explain.
Because from the outside, people say, well, isn't this fun for you? Don't you love doing this? Well, yes. Sometimes.
Maybe.
But yeah, sometimes it's really battle. Yeah. It's really difficult. A satisfying battle.
Yeah, like those your stress level at 100 and the challenges you confront, but that in a weird way, those are almost more, that's a more satisfying energy than the excited energy. I'm not sure I believe you, though. Frankly, like I don't want all of my.
No. It's weird, and it's one of those things again where it's like feeling, knowledge, where it's like I have this feeling, but the knowledge kind of trumps that. Where it's like I know that's not the case.
Yeah,
but I feel it.
Yeah.
But even those struggles, though, and the time that you give to that project. Your response to that vocational sort of calling, right? It's always sort of hearkening to you. Even though I suppose that the time you devote to it might be frustrating or challenging, or I suppose you can think of, other ways that you might be spending your time that people would imagine as more practical, and as a better guarantee that you're going to be able to, pay your electric bill, or fill your refrigerator up. And I know this is sort of a different thing, a slightly different topic, but I think about this in my interactions with students sometimes who are dissatisfied with what they're studying, but have chosen their course of study because it seems to offer them a better guarantee of material comfort or security, rather than doing the thing that I don't know if they have a calling for it exactly, right? But that's where their passions lie. Yeah. But that's the risky thing. This thing over here is in your woodworking magazine, a skill saw with a laser on it and a jig, right? Whereas this thing are the hand tools. Yeah. And then they're so unhappy, or my sense is oftentimes that they are very unhappy, and they're not following what maybe would be referred to as a kind of vocation. I just know my dad always said, because we've had this conversation before, and even when I was going to school and trying to figure out what I wanted to major in or whatever, just follow your passion, the money will come. And by money, I don't think he meant riches. I just think he meant you do what you want to do, and you'll be able to take care of yourself somehow. And God will help you to make that work out.
That advice feels dated, doesn't it?
Yeah.
There was a generation where that was common advice.
Yeah.
My parents had a similar stance with me. Like, let's see what he's interested in, and then we'll encourage it.
Yeah. See, my parents didn't have that stance.
Didn't either. My dad doesn't.
Be practical. So I said, okay, I'm going to go study poetry.
Speaking of subversive.
Insubordinate.
I know. But I think my parents have recognized since that, like my mom wanted to go back to school. She returned to college when she was 40. And I took care of my younger sisters while she did that, and I watched her struggle. And if you're listening to this, Mom, I love you. She wanted to study art. She's an artist. She didn't study art. She was talked out of it. And she spent the rest of her adult career life teaching a subject that she didn't want to teach.
Yeah.
She was good at it, and she found ways to be happy with it, because God uses those things as well. But I told myself I did not want to do that. Yeah.
My dad, he runs a small AV rental house. His dream was to record in studios with bands, and he hasn't done it once. It's one of those things where it's like, why not? Like, he had a path that he believed was the right path to get to something, but there was a point, and these are the words he's used, there's a point where he had to grow up. And it's like, what does that mean?
Yeah.
Like, grow up. And for him, grow up was stop looking at the stupid ideal of doing something fun and do something practical.
Yeah.
And it's like it's a similar route where it's like that's not. People think that. I don't know. I think his is kind of a very weird comparison because I was going to say people think that maturity and curiosity are mutually exclusive, but I don't think that's mostly true. I think that's a him thing, where it's like, practicality has to be. What's the word you've been using to describe the predictable? What's the word you've been using to describe the cabinet?
Certainty.
Certain. Yeah.
Assurance.
You have to have like predictable and certain results for to be practical. Repeatable, yeah.
Or what is it that we hear?
But yeah, he talks about like that feeling of how it was a big hit for him, and this is gonna sound very cocky, and I don't mean this in a cocky way when I tell him this, but it's like, but Dad, I've made 5 feature films.
Yeah.
I didn't get paid for a single one of them, but I did it.
Yeah.
I've done what I want to do. And it's like you knew a lot of kids in band in your high school. Would you have gotten paid for it? No. Would it have been good? Probably not. But that's what you wanted to do. You could have done it. You still can do it. Like he's got life ahead of him, probably. It's like he could do it if he wants to, but that's not practical.
Yeah. I mean, it's what Jason was saying, and then Lars made that connection of just like the machine and the woodworking, like it's like the machination of being, like of existing, of like what's the easiest way to get joy. And I think the natural thing is like if I'm secure, I'll be happy, and the way to security is through a job that I get. So like, what's the quickest route to joy? What's the quickest route to happiness that does not show inadequacy? And maybe sometimes that's through like a business degree or something. Also, sometimes business is people's passion, which is awesome. But
No,
I know a lot of,
which is a point worth making.
Yeah.
If your calling is for something that would be more readily described as practical, right, or whatever. Yeah,
Great.
terrific.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
Autumn.
Then you
my
pursue
goodness.
that.
She's shocking. She was made for like business analytics. She's so cool.
Well, and the man who handles our finances, thank God for him.
Yeah.
There's also the like what people view education as, because for some people it's the degree. Mm-hmm. For some people it's the education. And it's hard because sometimes it's like if you want to be a doctor, you have to get the right grades. Mm-hmm. You have to get the degree.
John talks about this all the time.
And he was talking about that in our painting final, where he's like, so John Tomford he was a biology major. He's going into medical school within the next couple of years, or applying for that. But he took a painting class, and it was very new for him. He one of the first things he asked me about painting class before he signed up for it was, will I get a bad grade if I don't do good? And I don't know if I ever told you this, but I literally told him, I'm like, talk to Jason about it. Tell him why you need a good grade. He'll probably give you a good grade if you want to learn. Like, it's like, we don't care about that over here.
Yeah, weird. It's weird.
But you almost have to.
Awesome.
I mean, we
just get rid of grades.
Well, and we get good grades because we put the effort in, but I don't think we can get to that point without not caring about the grade, which is such a difficult paradox.
Yeah.
So for him, he talked about that at the final, where it was very weird, where the goal wasn't getting your marks. Like, the goal wasn't checking off the rubric.
His commentary and our painting critiques was always next level. The inevitable question of like, well, what are you gonna do with a degree in studio art? Like this was our like form of like critique is a part of studying, and like he would make these comments of like, yeah, in my classes I have to memorize a lot of stuff, and it's not like I literally have to. Like or else someone could get hurt. Like, and it's such a weird dichotomy of like what we're doing in a painting critique is.
We talked about like what's more important. You know, it's like he could be saving lives, and like what's the priority? Like what we see as important determines like what kind of life we want to live. Because it's like one could say, well, we're not saving lives. You know, we're just putting slime on a knitted white thing. But at the same time, what do we see life as? Like, do we want enrichment?
What's more important, body or spirit?
Right, and I think we also need to be careful that we don't slip into the either or.
Like, and that's kind of what I'm trying to.
Because I think about like E. Cummings, who was a doctor.
William Carlos Williams.
Or William Carlos Williams. Yeah. Oh, Cummings was too, wasn't he?
No, both,
okay.
right? Both. I suppose it depends on your taste, but fantastic poets too, right?
I mean,
I don't like Cummings.
Do
Carlos
we only
Williams,
have
man.
one vocation?
Sorry.
That could be.
Or do we have multiple vocations?
Yes, we have many.
Yeah.
What
We
you're
are
talking
multitudes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, I'm talking about film and stuff. My goal, I want to be a professor.
Yeah.
Like, that's my ultimate goal, and that's education. To me, the priority in that for me is education, not filmmaking.
I'm surprised.
Even though
like you're being serious.
Yeah, no, I want to be a professor of film.
Okay.
Like, that's my ultimate goal, and it's because like when I'm on like we're for a fundraiser, one of the things we're trying to pay for is paid internships. Like, to have people. I've already talked to Lunston about this. If we can get the funding, we can have people from Bethany, like, they can have an internship through us, which would force me. It wouldn't force me, but I would let it force me to teach as a director. Like, it wouldn't just be like, okay, do this. It'd be like, okay, hey, actor, hey, intern, what I'm doing here is I'm explaining, blah, blah, and you know, like that's what I think for me, for my future. I don't know how right now looks, and I won't know, I guess, but to me, I think education in film will be more important to me than my craft. And maybe I'll have an experience like you were talking about, where all of a sudden I'm realizing, 10 years into education, 20, 30, however long I'm doing it, I don't know, maybe 2 years, I'll realize, I need to get back into the editing suite, and I'll do it again, and then I'll come back, but I don't know.
Yeah.
And probably you can't disentangle the two, or shouldn't.
Yeah.
Like,
being passionate in both.
You're going to teach, but you want to keep your hands in making films too, because that makes you a better teacher, makes you a better filmmaker, makes you a better teacher, right?
And a human.
And human. Yeah. It goes back to the contagious passion thing too. Like, if I care about my work, and people can see that, maybe they'll care about their work in the same way.
Yeah.
But,
yeah. Which is and this is probably too late in the session to open up this particular can of worms, but maybe in a future podcast, if you'll invite me back, it would be fun to talk about how maybe one of the problems with higher education is that the people who teach in it aren't given enough space to also pursue their creative endeavors, however you define that, right? So a biologist in the lab, a chemist in the lab, a reader and writer, reading and writing, and producing stuff. Yeah, exactly. And it depends on where you teach, right? But at a place like Bethany, and I think it probably more, and even at a place like MSU, probably a kind of mid-sized state university, where the emphasis, I think, is put on teaching. And so your energy and your hours, and this is the expectation, so I get that, but need to be primarily devoted to that, and it can leave little space for that other work that I think is just crucially important, and makes you a better teacher. Anyway, figuring out a way to give faculty that kind of space would be worthwhile, I think.
I think so.
I don't know.
Yeah, that might be a different can of worms.
Yeah.
I've got it down.
I'd like to be there for that one.
Good thing Nora's here. She noted it.
Yes.
Okay.
We've got it.
Good
Got
deal.
it down. We'll talk about it.
Wrangle that can of worms.
That's what I'm here for. Wrangling worms. The worm wrangler. That's what they call me.
Gathering wool.
That's gonna be. I was gonna say that's gonna be my intro next time.
Wrangle the worms. Sometimes,
I like it. That's your short.
Wrangling worms.
Well, I was once in this room with Dr. Benjamin Coles for a podcast, and he talked about landing the plane at the end. Feels like we're making our approach,
Yeah.
ladies and gentlemen. This is actually the first episode. I am so satisfied. The intention here is to reveal just wonderful people and have kind of authentic relational conversations. Things go where they go because, well, as we learned in episode 0, people are bigger on the inside.
You came in.
There's so much, right? There's so much. In the spirit of Garrison Keillor, the Writer's Almanac, I'm gonna try to end our episodes with a reading, poetry, scripture, otherwise. If you in the room or you listener have suggestions, we're very open to suggestions for readings that especially inhabit the crossover between faith and art. That's especially the kind of territory that we hope to examine over and over. Our first reading for episode 1 is from Psalm 90. It's written by a man named Moses. Maybe a little long, maybe not. We'll find out. But it ends exactly where I want us to have our attention. A prayer of Moses, the man of God. Lord, you have been our dwelling place in all generations, before the mountains were brought forth, or ever you had formed the earth and the world, even from everlasting to everlasting. You are God. You turn man to destruction and say, return, O children of men, for 1,000 years in your sight are like yesterday when it is past. And like a watch in the night, you carry them away like a flood. They're like asleep. In the morning, they're like grass which grows up. In the morning, it flourishes and grows up. In the evening, it's cut down and withers. For we have been consumed by your anger, and by your wrath we are terrified. You have set our iniquities before you, our secret sins in the light of your countenance. For all our days have passed away in your wrath. We finish our years like a sigh. The days of our lives are 70 years, and if by reason of strength they are 80 years. Yet their boast is only labor and sorrow. For it is soon cut off, and we fly away. Who knows the power of your anger? For as the fear of you, so is your wrath. So teach us to number our days, that we may gain a heart of wisdom. Return, O Lord. How long? And have compassions on your servants. O satisfy us early with your mercy, that we may rejoice and be glad all our days. Make us glad, according to the days in which you have afflicted us, the years in which we have seen evil. Let your work appear to your servants, and your glory to their children. And let the beauty of the Lord our God be upon us, and establish the work of our hands for us. Yes, establish the work of our hands. I'm Jason Jaspersen, and this is episode 1 of Whistle the Feast.
And that concludes this episode of Whistle the Feast. We hope you enjoyed being a part of the conversation as much as we did. Whistle the Feast would not be possible without all the creative people and spaces at Bethany Lutheran College. And you can head on over to blc.edu to learn more about the college or schedule a visit. If you have thoughts, questions, or feedback, we'd love to hear from you. You can actually send any feedback about the show to feastreaders@gmail.com. And hey, if you've got a project you'd like to promote, we'd love to support it. Just send your details our way. A huge shout out to the wonderful people in our Bethany community for sharing their thoughts with us, and our producer, Jaksyn Graham, for managing the edits. And with that, I'm Norah Kratz alongside Jason Jaspersen, and we want to thank everyone who tuned into this episode of Whistle the Feast. Until next time.
Get curious, be of good service, and discover what God has given you.